Okay, folks, people are still discussing, they're still defending the supposed professional wrestlers who are engaged, so to speak, in this activity. Must have been a few years ago. Starts off with Jushin Liger and Tommaso Ciampa. I think I know who the third guy is, but I don't even want to drop names as to who the third guy would be unless I'm exactly sure who he is. But then you see a guy who I'm pretty sure is the guy from MLW now, but once again, I don't want to use names unless I know for positive. Some people have identified Pete Dunne as the last guy on this train, so to speak. The video's been out there for a while. It's nothing new. But I just couldn't bring myself, until this morning to look at this damn thing, and now I'm thoroughly disgusted. And I'm, of course, the wrestling fans who like this thing, or I don't even think a lot of them like it. I just think they say they do in order to get a rise out of me, piss me off. They just want to be contrarian to my contrarianship. They don't want to take leadership. Sometimes when someone speaks the truth boldly, as I do, it scares people, it frightens people that are used to being spoon-fed and coddled and manipulated through advertising. You see, I don't have a product to sell you fucking assholes. These fucking wrestling companies that want to sell you women's evolution, women's revolution, and then not do shows in Saudi Arabia with the women, they're selling you something. They're selling you false hope, false pride. These wrestlers that stick their thumbs in each other's assholes, what are they selling you? Horribleness. Horribleness. So it's all ridiculousness. It's all deplorableness. And everyone should be ashamed of themselves. So everyone ought to be ashamed. The fans should be ashamed for defending it. The wrestlers especially, who have gone on with their lives. And people are saying, oh my goodness, this butt spot group, they've all gone on to great careers. Well, good for them. But you know what? Can they look in their fucking mirrors and be proud of themselves deep down inside? No matter what they accomplish, no matter how great their matches are, for the rest of their careers, they'll always be one of the butt spot 10. They'll always have that on their resume. They'll always have that on their record, that they took their thumb and jammed it up another man's ass. What really hurts me is that Jushin Liger involved himself in this nonsense. Jushin Liger, you remember wrestling Brian Pillman, the late Brian Pillman, for the WCW Junior Heavyweight Championship? You and Pillman were really the first two guys to put that championship on the map. I believe that you defeated Brian sometime around Christmas of 1991, and I want to say that he regained it at Super Brawl 2, and or maybe he got it one way or the other. But basically, can you be proud? What would Brian Pillman have thought of this situation? Jushin Liger strutting around the ring, the fans, all these fans clapping and cheering. Each and every single fan who put their hands together and clapped should be ashamed of themselves, should have to look at themselves deep in the mirror and be ashamed. And, it looks like some type of humiliation ritual from a cult. That's what it looks like to me, folks. If you're wondering why it's so offensive, it's because all these wrestlers were probably knowingly or not knowingly, and I won't use the word probably, but possibly, humiliation and false sense of sexual intimacy and degradation of people is how a lot of cults operate. That's how they get in people's head. They make them do something perverse and sexually exploitive to themselves. That's how they break them down mentally and get them to be a part of their cult. So that's probably, I won't say probably, but that might be something here, folks. Look into it. I'll have to do more research. But each and every single wrestler involved in that spot, the commentators who are just so gleeful to be cowing about how great this is, you all ought to be ashamed of yourselves. And yeah, look, the chicken came home to fucking roost, folks. It's been a few years. You might have thought that, but unfortunately for everybody, video cameras and YouTube and internet shit, you can't get away with much these days. So if you're going to disgrace professional wrestling, if you're going to disgrace whatever career you may or may not have, all you all-stars, there's always going to be some fucking guy like myself who discovers this thing. I've heard about this thing for a couple of years. Meltzer defending it, Cornette attacking it, and I had to see for myself. I finally said, God damn it, I got to see this fucking thing. I didn't want to see it, but today it's something that occurred to me. Let me Google this, let me find it. It's horrible, god awful. They ought to be ashamed, ought to be banned from wrestling, having to wear masks, wrestle on the undercard, first match of the night. Any potential push for any of these wrestlers involved in this thumb in the ass spot should be canceled. They should all be treated worse than Triple H was after the curtain call, because they've all disgraced not only themselves but the integrity. Lou Thez, okay, Bruno Sammartino, Harley Race, Vader, all the men of professional wrestling, that these clowns humiliate themselves by doing this deplorable act. They all ought to be ashamed. They all ought to be banned. And, it just makes me not want to go to independent wrestling shows is what it does, because there's a big independent wrestling show coming up not too far from me this weekend. And I contemplated even going to this thing. Eric Bischoff's going to be at this thing, supposedly. Of course, he didn't show up the last time I went to see Eric Bischoff at the New England Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame 2013 VIP dinner on the Friday night. Bischoff didn't show up for that. So maybe he wouldn't even show up for this. Who the fuck knows? But basically, the point being this, I'm sickened. I don't know if I have it in me to go see independent wrestling right now, because I'm so, I just feel like these guys aren't worth the ticket money, okay? I just feel like, I can't speak for all these fucking assholes, but just not knowing what exactly is going to be presented, and then not putting some type of, this guy doesn't equal that guy, but it's a blemish on all of wrestling, and it affects everyone, it affects everything, and everyone ought to be ashamed of themselves. So that's it. People are wondering why he's so pissed off. It's a great spot. It's not a great spot. It's humiliating. It's degrading. It's probably some type of induction ceremony, some type of induction ceremony to some type of bizarre cult. And maybe that's why these guys are also successful now, because they went along with the program. They stuck their thumb on each other's ass. So there you go. There's your heroes, everybody. Would Road Warrior Hawk do this? Would Ole Anderson do this? Arn Anderson, Tully Blanchard, would they go around sticking their thumbs up each other's ass? What about the War Games, fucking 87? You think Tully and Arn and J.J. Dillon and Dusty Rhodes and the Road Warriors and fucking Luger would all go around sticking each other's fucking thumbs up their ass? Probably not. You ought to be ashamed. Deplorable. Sick.